I can't believe we're already at chapter 1499 of Hajime no Ippo. It makes me really happy to know that I'm going to experience chapter 1500 together with all of you in this community. Just a quick comment before we begin this review. Remember that the animation you're seeing in the background is from NeoGh0st Channel, a member of our community. On his channel, they include music and sound effects that elevate it to another level, almost anime tier. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description so you can support him, and together let's keep breathing life into the Hajime no Ippo fandom. Now, let's get into the review. We begin exactly where we left off, with the bell ringing to start the second round of this world title fight. Both boxers are fighting at mid-range, standing their ground in the center of the ring, neither giving up an inch. The second round begins and the Japanese boxers' fists roar. I need to pause the review right away to talk about the title, because even though there are translations out there online, this is a phrase that doesn't translate directly. It carries a lot of symbolism in its original language, Japanese. The title of this chapter can be read as Kuraitsukugouwan. And this isn't just any phrase, it's made up of words that scream violence, tenacity, and brute force. The first term, Kuraitsuku, doesn't just mean to bite. It's the bite of a beast that refuses to let go, one that attacks and clings on with hunger. And then we have Gouwan, which means mighty arm, or the power of the fist. So really, this title isn't referring to anything technical. It's speaking from pure instinct, from that moment when a boxer stops being human and becomes a beast. In this chapter, we definitely see someone fighting not just with strength, but with hunger for victory. Any literal translation would be inaccurate. So, a symbolic one might be something like the devouring fist, or the mighty arm that won't let go of its prey. If you break it down in Japanese, you'll find words like devour, cling, and mighty arm. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions. We see the Tiger of Naniwa taking a powerful jab from Ricardo Martinez. This time, he can't reduce the damage by twisting his neck. But even so, a punch like that won't stop him. He steps in and lands a devastating right on Ricardo's guard. A hook with his strong arm. Ricardo of course needs both hands to block. And I want to pause here because I've seen many people in the community saying that it doesn't make sense for Ricardo Martinez to block the Japanese boxer's punches so easily, or that we don't give Ricardo enough credit. Let me make something clear. Ricardo Martinez is extremely strong. He has destructive power. Honestly, I'd say just slightly below Ippo and the Tiger of Naniwa, of course. But not that far behind. That's why he's such a deadly boxer. He doesn't just have flawless technique, but also destructive strength comparable to the monsters we already know. The crowd acknowledges how powerful the Japanese boxer's punches are, totally devastating. And they know that even a defense like the champion's won't be enough to shield from the damage. We see Takamura surprised by this, and also Date, who nods in approval at what the Japanese fighter is doing. He throws a left punch while letting out a fierce shout. You can see the effort in his face. You can see those eyes full of determination, and how tightly he's clenching his teeth. This makes it clear that he's putting more power and speed than usual into this punch, landing a demolishing flurry of punches, roaring with every blow, a metaphor for the tiger's cries of effort. Honestly, it reminds me of when you're at the gym and you push yourself to failure on an exercise, and you just have to let out a shout. Even though the attack is so intense and relentless, the Japanese boxer stays alert, his instincts sharp. He's able to block Ricardo Martinez's left. Let's remember, it's the best jab in the world. and just blocking it is already impressive. It shows how the tiger of Naniwa has truly become a world-class boxer. Immediately after blocking, the Japanese fighter prepares his own left, and Ricardo, without hesitation, adjusts his guard to block. He blocks both the left and the right. We can even see in the author's drawing how Ricardo's entire body trembles from absorbing these punches. The commentator makes it clear. Ricardo has only been using his right arm to defend against the tiger's blows and has only attacked with his left, so we know he hasn't gone all out yet. That's why in the previous chapter, Bill Stewart, Ricardo's second, told him he was trying to tame a beast with a whip, referring to his left jabs, of course. And if he's using his right to block, it's because that's his strong arm. And Ricardo feels the need to use all his strength to stop the Japanese boxer's punches. Once again, the commentator tells us, if one of those punches lands, the tiger's fangs will shake the champion to his very soul. The crowd was fired up from the Japanese boxer's fierce flurry. Everyone was cheering non-stop. Even Ippo comments on how he's throwing more and more punches, and Miyata acknowledges that he's stepped on the gas, pointing out all the sweat pouring down. And right here, I want to make a quick comment, because this connects directly to what happens next. The fact that the tiger of Naniwa is going full throttle, landing powerful blows on the guard and doing it faster and faster. It worries me for two main reasons. One, this is taking place in Japan, in Osaka, and it's midsummer. It's been clearly stated that it's the hottest day of the year. And even though these big venues are usually air-conditioned, there's no doubt it's a scorching day. Add to that, as Miyata said, the Japanese boxer is giving it everything he's got. He's flooring it, which makes me wonder if the tiger might run out of energy in the second half of the fight, or even become dehydrated or something like that. It's something we should keep in mind, and that's exactly why I got really worried when I saw the sweat flying off in the next panel, thinking it was from all the Japanese boxer's effort, but it wasn't from him, it was from Ricardo Martinez. Blocking these punches is taking a huge toll on him, and that's why he's sweating. The physical strain he's under is out of this world. The pressure from those blows is crushing him. Even after more than 70 fights, this is the first time someone's made him experience such destructive power. We see Ricardo blocking the Japanese boxer's punch with his right arm, but the tiger's fangs are sinking into their prey. The ferocity keeps growing as the match progresses, and Ricardo recognizes that this guy is a carnivore. We've seen this kind of visual effect in the manga before, like it's tearing through flesh. We've seen it with the Japanese boxer's punches, of course, and if I'm not mistaken, also with Ippo, like when he landed that blow on Malcolm Gedo's face, and I think we've even seen it with Takamura at some point, though I'm not entirely sure. You can let me know in the comments. Here, before continuing, I want to make another pause. That's the whole point of these reviews. To pause and throw in some analysis, of course. And I'll take this moment to remind you to subscribe if you enjoy this kind of video, because next week we'll be covering chapter 1500, and I really hope it's something big. Even though Ricardo Martinez is blocking every punch from the Tiger of Naniwa, I don't think this is just to show us how powerful his punches are, but also to show the kind of shock Ricardo might be feeling in his arms. We've seen it before, like when Ippo fought Mashiba, and when Ricardo fought Billy McCallum, how you can disable your opponent's defense just by pounding their guard. I think that's the author's message here. Maybe that's what could happen to Ricardo. Continuing with the chapter, Ricardo is convinced now. He thought he had already seen enough ferocity, savagery, and instinct in his fight against Wally. But clearly, a primate isn't the same as a carnivore, definitely a very racist message. Calling Wally a monkey just because he's from an island, not cool. Of course, I'm joking, people. Ricardo finally gives in. At the beginning of the chapter, we were told both boxers were staying in the center of the ring. But Ricardo can't keep handling this pressure. It's too dangerous. So he decides to retreat and starts using his footwork. Even the crowd starts laughing at Ricardo, as if to ask whether he's starting to feel fear. The tiger's eyes are those of a true predator. He immediately turns toward Ricardo Martinez, who still hasn't fully grasped the difference between Wally and the Japanese boxer. What does it really mean to be wild? That's the question Ricardo is trying to answer in his mind. As we move into a spectacular panel, one that will surely become a full-color spread like the one in the thumbnail, showing the tiger of Naniwa alongside a tiger, both with the same bloodthirsty expression. That tiger and the Japanese boxer leap at Ricardo, who now, instead of blocking punches, is dodging, moving his body and neck. Miyata acknowledges that the Japanese boxer is doing an excellent job. In the end, he only needs one punch, and the more he throws, the higher the chances one will land. Even Ippo gets so hyped that he clenches his fist and stands up to support his friend, the Tiger of Naniwa, showing us just how much Ippo's passion is reigniting during this match. Ricardo, while dodging these punches with pinpoint precision, is finishing his calculations, measuring all he needs, the distance and the timing of the Japanese boxer's punches. Finally, he lets go of the whip, abandons the jab, and picks up the rifle, landing a jab, a move that may seem basic, but it can be used not just to keep your opponent at bay, but also to measure distance. And precisely now, after dodging the Japanese boxer's left, Ricardo picks up the rifle and fires. Of course, if you remember what happened in the previous chapter, it's clear that Ricardo's rifle is his right hand, specifically a right hand counter. Finally, the world champion will stop relying solely on his left jabs and will begin using his strong arm. We're probably going to see a 1-2 combo or maybe a full power blow with his right arm. Which brings us to the big question, what's really going to happen in chapter 1500? In my opinion, we have two very clear possibilities. One, Ricardo lands his right, either as a counter or just a powerful strike against the tiger. But honestly, if the Japanese boxer were to fall immediately in chapter 1500, I'd feel like he's done for, and that would kind of ruin the whole mood of the fight. So, if Ricardo does connect, I truly believe that the Tiger of Naniwa will be able to endure it. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility that this time the Japanese boxer beats Ricardo to the punch, either dodging, blocking, or finding any way to avoid it. And he's the one who lands the decisive blow in the next chapter. Maybe we'll even see Ricardo take a punch that strong for the first time, or, as some believe, get knocked down for the very first time in his entire professional career. What do you think? What are you expecting from chapter 1500? Remember to subscribe for more Hajime no Ippo reviews and analysis. As for this chapter, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Good night, champ!